Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Between Two Brokers. Thank you so much, listeners, for emailing all of your pressing questions about life and love and business to podcast at smithspencer.com. We really appreciate it. And you guys are in for a treat today because guess what? It's Schmoopy time. Are you ready, Schmoopy, to answer this poor woman's questions? Here is her conundrum. Dear Schmoopy, I am moving in with my boo-boo and am thinking of keeping my house.
What is a boo-boo?
I love my house. This is in all caps, okay? I was a first-time buyer when I bought it years ago. What is the best way for me to decide whether or not to keep it as a rental property, Schmoopy?
I'm sorry, can you hear the question again? And don't say boo-boo. It was very distracting.
I am moving in with my lover.
Okay.
And am thinking of keeping my house. I love my house. I was a first-time home buyer when I bought it years ago. What is the best way for me to decide whether or not to keep it as a rental property, Schmoopy?
Well, I mean, what did you pay for it? What could you sell it for? I always think I would like to dissect the relationship a little bit better because
Please call her for an interview to see if he really passes the test.
it would be really nice to have it available to move back into when boo-boo does not work out.
Although I kept my rental property for like a year or two after I moved in with my last boyfriend and sold it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have moved back into it.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, unless you can make more money on it selling it right now than you think you can in the next however many years, and you have something you want to do with that money, I would keep it that's how you build long-term wealth, is by owning real estate. I mean, I would, barring any kind of like weird circumstance with the house or something that you need to use that money for, I say keep it and rent it out.
My advice is the opposite. Opposites attract.
Yep.
So first of all, number one, you need to ask yourself if you are sure you want to be a landlord, which you don't really know the answer to that question until you've done it. But being a landlord totally sucks. Right?
Well, unless you have a property management company. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sucks because, renters have demands and you might not agree with them and, whatever. The AC always breaks in August and it's 11 p.m. and whatever. You definitely should hire a property manager if you do it, which is going to cut into your rental income. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that happens is here in South Carolina, your taxes are going to triple the year after, or the year even, that you move out. And so, what you're paying, like let's say your payment right now is $1,500 a month, is going to go up significantly. You can go to Google Charleston County Tax Estimator, go into what your assessed value is. Let's say it's $500,000, and then do your taxes at the 6% rate, and you will see that your taxes will triple. So you need to factor that into your cash flow, and you probably aren't going to cash flow as well. And to me, this is you making an emotional decision. So you have an emotional attachment to this property, which I think is maybe we all have emotional attachments to our homes to some degree. But what I tell people is, you want investment property, let's buy you some investment property. It's like the thing that you buy as your first property. Let's say it's like a condo or something. I mean, it works for you at that time, but like I said, I held on to my rental, my like bachelorette pad that I absolutely loved 2 years after I moved in with my ex. I would not have moved back into it after we split because it just didn't fit my life or lifestyle or anything anymore in terms of what I would have been okay with. So it just wouldn't work. You're going to be a different person in a few years anyway.
Maybe not next month.
And I also tell everybody who asks me this question that the house is never going to look as good as the way you have it. I mean, maybe there's a chance you get a decorator in there as a tenant, a single female decorator, who just like tricks it out and makes it look phenomenal. There's very slim chance that that's going to happen. So these are the reasons I would just be very cautious about renting it out. I just say, kind of go out on top, and on top means it's going to look the best. The market's still really great right now in terms of prices. And so, if it doesn't work out with Boo Boo, then you can just go buy something else or rent something else and kind of take your time and figure out what the best thing for you is at that point. But, since you can't predict the future, I think what's best now is unloading the rental property. Unless, again, like Aaron said, if your goal is to develop a real estate portfolio and keep long-term investments, then I think that it makes sense. But
And
like
you
Aaron
bought it
said,
before COVID.
yeah, and I would also, like, if it's a single family house in Charleston that you bought before COVID, I would say, yeah, but a lot of, and I'm just saying, like, a lot of single females, their first properties are condos and townhomes, and those don't necessarily appreciate they don't appreciate the way single family homes do. And then also there's a risk of assessments being done in the future, and just dealing with a homeowners association is just a pain in the ass in general. And when you're not living in the house and loving it anymore, you're going to be so annoyed because they're going to be like, oh, your tenant lets their dog shit outside of my front door every single day. And then, then it's your problem. So you just kind of have to think all those things through. If you're a very busy person with a very high stress job, I think, a real estate rental property can kind of be a ball and chain unless your property managers are amazing.
Yeah.
So,
But if you want to get together for a margarita, I can diagnose this further.
yeah. Well, she wants to interview your man too.
Yeah, I do.
Anyway, thank you so much for emailing podcast@smithspencer.com. Keep the questions coming. We love them. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.